We are a nation better than any other, virtually chosen by God. We are the light on the hill. What we do is right because we, the Americans, are right. Rules are for lesser mortals, for other countries. But if we break rules, we are right because we are America. People don't question whether the alliance with America is a good thing or not. They now take it for granted. We are not another state of the American Union.
Mr. Fraser, thank you for giving your time to discuss your book, Dangerous Allies. What motivated you to write the book?
I'd felt for quite some time that Australia was becoming too closely tied to the United States in all sorts of ways. After the end of the Cold War, when the Soviet Union disintegrated, I thought, now's an excuse. Now we can really become a bit more independent. And I was concerned that over this period we seemed to embark on a number of ventures, all of which took us closer and closer within the American military machine, if you like. And I probably decided to write the book about the time we were told that an American three-service task force was going to be established at Darwin, because I felt that, in old days, in days of empire, especially before the First War, if Britain went to war, they took the empire to war, including us. We didn't make a separate decision. And Menzies got into trouble leading up to the Second War when he said Britain is at war, therefore we also are at war, using, I think, those words. Now, it is quite wrong to give any other country the power to take us to war. And we've become so close to the United States that if they go to the war in the Pacific, we don't really have an option to stay out of it. An Australian Prime Minister has no capacity to stand up in the Parliament and say, we're going to pass this one by. And I believe that's a total betrayal of Australian sovereignty, of the Australian Parliament and people, and no independent country, no separate country, should put itself in that position. We are not another state of the American Union.
Just to go back to Iraq, because I know you were very anti, the information was on WMD
fabricated.
Was fabricated. So can you explain what it says about our politicians and about our security service?
Well, it says something about the political class, if you like, which includes politicians, public servants, members of the military, bemused by America, captured by America. And, we followed America into 3, or if you like, 4 wars now, if you take these recent events, and starting with Vietnam. Well, they've all ended really in failure. Well, there was a military victory over Saddam Hussein. Politically and strategically, it's been a total disaster. It's unleashed sectarian rivalries and hatreds in the Middle East, which nobody at the moment knows how to contain. Now, if Saddam Hussein had not been overthrown in that way, that was, in his time, all this was kept under control. Certainly he was a brutal, terrible dictator. But America hasn't. They've had a number of allies who've been brutal and terrible dictators, and that hasn't worried them at all, so long as they were serving American purposes. I don't want to follow America into another major war. If it's in the far side of the world, that may not be all that important to Australia. But if it's in our part of the world, and if it happened to be at the end of the day against China, then it matters to Australia a very, very great deal. So if circumstances arise in the Western Pacific which lead to America being involved militarily, how do we say we're not involved? Especially with the troops in Darwin and with Pine Gap. That means if America goes to war, we don't have an option to say we are not at war. So this is a situation which I believe is totally untenable.
Have you ever seen a video by retired General Wesley Clark? He was Supreme Commander of NATO. When he was at the Pentagon a few days after 9/11, someone showed him a memo that they had planned to destroy 7 countries in 5 years. That their answer was that they had a hammer and every problem was a nail. Have you seen that interview, Mr. Fraser?
I might have, but I don't remember the detail of it. I do remember Wesley Clark coming away from the Pentagon extraordinarily disjointed at what had happened to America and America's analysis of world events, because I think he was a thoughtful person and constructive. See, it really went wrong when America was the only superpower and supreme. She wanted to stay the only superpower and supreme. And the neoconservatives, and their belief that America would only be secure when the whole world is a democracy, then the Committee for the New American Century, their ideas of American exceptionalism. We are a nation better than any other, virtually chosen by God. We are the light on the hill. What we do is right because we, the Americans, are right. Rules are for lesser mortals, for other countries. But if we break rules, we are right because we are America. Now, I'm virtually quoting an American who established the International Crisis Group, who came out of the Carnegie Endowment of International Peace, had been an American ambassador. And the words I've just mentioned were very, very similar, certainly similar in meaning to words that he'd used in saying American exceptionalism dooms American foreign policy. And so looking ahead, it's not a this year question, 10 years, 15, 20 years, I just want to avoid that possibility for Australia. Therefore, we need to recapture our strategic independence.